right, welcome to another episode of the Logic Cast. My name is Blanca Kong. I'm joined by Gunnar Eos, Huddle Wolf, Mr. Esoteric Skills. We are logical gamers, and this is our topic for today. You're seeing the article on screen. It's from Destructoid. Silent Hill F plays like a Souls-like because it's all the craze amongst the kids these days, or so the devs think. Trend chasing will be the end of AAA gaming. It's gonna be one of those days, boys. So let's read through this article. It's pretty short. We've all seen the Silent Hill F preview showcasing the game's all too familiar combat system. You'd expect a survival horror title, especially one with as long a tradition as Silent Hill has, to be more intense and atmospheric. But nope, it's Souls-like, and the devs think that's fine. As per IGN via GameSpark, Motoi Okamoto, bro, I can never pronounce Japanese names. Like, I would be so offensive if I go to Japan. Silent Hill series producer wanted to implement more action and entertainment into F since its inception. This wish was so strong that Konami decided to go for Neobards and asked them to develop the game due to the studio being tremendously good at making action games, which is a bad sign because Blooper Team worked on Silent Hill 2, and I thought they did a really good job. And I don't know Neobards, so
Me neither.
that's going to be a tough sell. Anyway, one would expect Silent Hill to be developed by tremendously good horror developers, but in a world filled with brink and action entertainment and most recently Souls-like, that's just how things are. And speaking of Souls-like gameplay, which appears to also be a large part of the Silent Hill F, given the gameplay previews we've seen recently, it was added to the game into the game that no, it was added into the game because it's surprise, popular with modern players. The Silent Hill series isn't considered a game that has an entertaining action per se, but as we're opening our doors to new players, we've begun to wonder what it would be like if we added more of those elements into the game. Challenging action games are gaining popularity among younger players nowadays. So I believed that if we implemented such elements into the game, it would resonate well even with people who are new to the series. So yeah, Silent Hill F is an action-oriented horror game, a standalone in the series, developed by a studio well-versed in action games and filled with Souls-like elements, because apparently the modern player cannot stand to play a game without being entertained, actioned all the time. Now I get it. We don't want the same thing as we've had with countless other horror games, not even the same as older Silent Hill titles, but turning an otherwise tense, atmospheric, hauntingly horrifying game into an action-oriented title with Souls-like elements simply doesn't ring right to me. There's a lot of sass in this article. Let's
Yes.
hope the visions turn out fine in the end, at least. So, in a nutshell, Silent Hill F apparently is going to have a lot of Souls-like gameplay elements and mechanics in it. I haven't seen anything about Silent Hill F really, except for like a few teaser trailers. I haven't seen any like hard gameplay for it, and I honestly wasn't all that impressed with what I did see, and I am now less impressed or less inclined to give this game a chance. I think I could be wrong. It might be really good because I do like Souls-like games. So it might tickle the right parts to get me to buy into it. But I'll be honest with you, Elden Ring kind of scratched that Souls itch for me for a while. Elden Ring came out what 2.5 years ago,
I believe so.
and I'm still good. Like I don't need to play another Souls games for a while. Like I haven't had the itch to go back to something like that. Um, I didn't play Liza P. I played it, but I didn't buy it or jump into it. I did not jump into Lords of the Fallen. Uh, Wu Chang, Wu Chang, the girl
Yeah.
Souls like game that just came out. I didn't. I thought about getting that, but I don't know. I just kind of like, I don't know. It just fell out of the radar for me. Um, so I don't know. I feel like if you have too much of anything, it saturates the market. If anything, even if it's really good, if you have the same thing over and over again, it becomes stale. You just want some type of, uh, for lack of a better term, diversity or variation. And so now that they're trying to cash in on the Souls train, um, Soul Train, Souls Train. Um,
See what you did there.
I it was not intentional, but I caught it and I liked it. So now that they're trying to catch on to that trend, it just feels like a sad attempt at trying to make their game different and trying to capitalize on an established fan base of a game type. So it might prove dividend to them. Like it might provide, it might be what some people are looking for. I don't know, but it's definitely not selling it to me. So anyway, what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about oversaturation with gameplay styles? Uh, are there other examples of other game genres that you feel are oversaturated in the market right now? What do you guys think?
Metroidvania.
Hmm.
Those are definitely
Uh,
oversaturated. But go ahead, Gunner.
yeah. Not well. So like, um, I also haven't really seen much in terms of the gameplay, in regards to Silent Hill F. The little bit that I did see, I can definitely believe it's more action oriented, because I believe the main character can wield a larger variety of weapons than previous Silent Hill characters. Like the most Silent Hill game that I remember was Silent Hill 4. No, sorry, 3. 3 had like a plethora of guns that she was able to use. So that was the more action-packed game at the time. Uh and this kind of looks like it's gonna like increase the combat even compared to the Silent Hill 2 remake, which that one also was more heavily combat focused than even original Silent Hill 2. So this is a weird thing for me because I do harp on Metroidvanias because a lot of indie games, it seems either they fall in one or two categories. They're a deck building card game or they're a Metroidvania. And I like Metroidvanias. I do like the good ones, the Hollow Lights, the uh oh man, I forget it. It's not
Metroid
coming
and
to me right now.
Castlevania.
Yeah, like the OGs, but like a lot of the indie games that come out. There's some really good
Oh,
Metroidvania style
Nine
games.
Souls.
Yeah, Nine Souls. There was one with a female character that was basically an homage to Symphony of the Night. Um,
Bloodstained, you talking about?
Bloodstained, and there was another one that came out, but I might remember it as we go along. So I like that to a certain degree, but I'm more partial to Souls-like games. I just like the Souls-like formula, and when there's a good one that comes out, Lies of P, First Berserker Kazan, Wu Chang, Wukong. I'm playing that recently. I know I'm like a late to the party, but hey, it is what it is. Um, those are good Souls-like games, so I really enjoy playing those. So I'm more impartial to seeing more of those exist. But I do agree. I do agree that we're starting to hit, or we've already hit, depending on who you ask, that threshold where it's like there's a lot of Souls-like games coming out, and not all of them are bangers. Because I remember when first Berserker Kazan came out, there was another Souls-like game that was coming out the same week called AI Limit. So it's just like, which which Souls game do I get? It ended up being first Berserker to me, for me, because they both had demos and I played both of them, and Berserker felt more polished than AI Limit. But it just goes to show there's like multiple of these Souls-like games coming out, and I think a lot of these developers are seeing that that's a popular kind of genre for a lot of modern current gamers. So my fear is that they're going to start adding Souls-like combat and Souls-like elements to games that don't need them. Silent Hill doesn't need Souls-like combat. Not that Resident Evil is going to do it, but Resident Evil doesn't need that. Survival horror games are their own genre. There's not a lot of them, and I would like this to be a survival horror, but if this is going to have a lot of Souls-like or action combat elements, I don't know. It after like the surprise, the pleasant surprise that was Silent Hill 2 remake, this kind of puts a wet blanket on Silent Hill F for me, and I was really interested in it because it's Silent Hill done somewhere else. So it's in Japan, and it's going to have Japanese horror and kind of like their style of horror compared to a more Western spooky ghost style. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not writing the game off completely, but this news definitely put me more on like high alert when it came to the game, and I got to see more now. So that's my initial takes. I think we are at a saturation point with Souls like gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump in here. So when prior to our session pertaining to this topic, we did have a brief discussion about it, and I was pretty stoked about it. You know, having the fair elements and what Silent Hill 2 was, and the remake particularly, and how amazing it was despite the lack of marketing and like the trailers and whatnot, because I didn't see much for that game. But you know, I gave it a try at, you know, Kong's suggestion. He said you'll really like it, and you know, Kong typically picks out really good games, so I gave it a shot and I loved it. Honestly, it's one of the best horror games to date, in my opinion. Like it definitely touched and scratched all aspects of what a horror game should be in its entirety. It had a couple of like elongated moments within the game, but overall it was packaged phenomenally, and the suspense was amazing. The multiple endings, which one of my favorites. You guys have to check it out. I'll probably post it in the comment section or whatever for you guys to check out. It was like phenomenal, and just the mind games with like James and his like battle with the struggles of what's going on in Silent Hill, and his like deliriousness pertaining to like his wife or whatever. It was just a phenomenal game altogether. Um, so I was kind of like riding the coattails, because if they made a good game like that, they're definitely going to make a good game. I think Silent Hill F would kind of ride that train and actually, you know, build up the momentum for this particular game. Um, and I was excited that they were implementing the Souls like elements to it, because I enjoy Souls like games. They're fun. They keep me on the edge of my seat. It's one of the very few genres that invoke emotions from me. The other one is actually horror. So I was like, you know, meshing those two together, that might be interesting. But then, based upon the article, the reasoning as to why they're doing it is because that's the craze. That's what people are raving about. That's where I'm getting a little bit of cause for concern, because they're not doing it because they actually thought about doing it. They're doing it because everybody, according to them, loves Soul like it blew up exponentially, and now they want to pretty much catch that gravy train. And typically, when games are built with that mentality, they tend to flop. You know, chances are they're probably just gonna copy and paste whatever elements from different Souls like games and put it into the game. And hopefully it works. Hopefully, you know, they do a phenomenal job with it. Um, but I don't think it's going to be much innovation there based upon like their reasoning for adding them. I'm really hoping that it is. I'm really hoping that it is, because again, I enjoyed Silent Hill 2 so much. I saw the little bit of teaser trailers for this game, and it looks really good. Um, Another concern is the company that's making it. I thought that they were gonna utilize what was it called, Blooper Studio again, or yeah, I thought they were gonna utilize Blooper Studio once again, because they did such a great job on the remake of 2, but they're going with this other company that I have no idea about. But hopefully they nail it in the park. You know, hopefully they produce something amazing. I'm not too sure. Um, but this is a cause for concern, because although there is a lot of like saturated um, titles like Souls-like titles. Metroidvania is another one. I feel like shooters are also back on the rise as well. I feel as though that they're not producing it out of like sheer genuinity, but just more so to collect a paycheck. Which, spoiler alert, that's what most companies are doing nowadays anyway. But I felt like with Silent Hill 2, when they decided to create the horror game, it's like they poured their soul into it. And in this particular game, again, based upon what the article is saying, it's like we want to add these new elements, not because we enjoy those elements per se, but more so because everyone else loves it. So it's like, why not just create a individual Souls game, make a new IP instead of playing around with Silent Hill F? Because again, like I said, I don't think that it's going to produce the way that I would like them to produce because they're not doing it for the right reasons, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, hopefully they do. I'm going to see what else they offer. Hopefully they have future trailers of the gameplay showing what elements of the Souls games that they're going to implement, because there's many different things. There's the difficulty aspect, there's the you lose whatever currency or whatever items you may have once you die or whatever. There's also the story aspect, which I love a lot. The ambiguity in the story where you have to speak with certain NPCs in order to unlock new stories. Hopefully they take those elements, because that would tie in really well with Silent Hill F. There are probably like a multitude of characters that you encounter. You might have little mini missions, and depending upon what you do will determine the outcome of the ending, or like your encounter with a specific boss. Um, Maybe there might be certain apparitions, or I guess since it's in Japan, certain yokai that you would only encounter due to the fact that you're interacting with a particular NPC in the game. So hopefully they take that particular aspect of the Souls games. Um, I don't see them doing anything with point allocation. Like I don't see that making any sense unless they have like certain stats where it's like your awareness becomes like you can increase your awareness, so that might open up maybe secret passageways or like other yokai, kind of like Bloodborne's Madman's Knowledge, where when you get enough of those certain encounters like the amygdalas you see on the walls, and like other enemies come your way. So they got stuff to work with. I'm just a little concerned about like the reason as to why they're doing it. But I said a lot. I'm gonna pass it on to you, Wolf. What do you think about like this whole article and their intentions with Silent Hill F?
Well, I've always believed that. Well, I've said it before. Video game companies are not in it for satisfying the player base without making a penny. So I'm really not surprised that they would come out with a game and they're imitating, I guess, or a game that's inspired by um the I guess the hot trend, which would be Souls like games. It's really not a surprise to me. Um, at this point, it's kind of you can kind of expect it to an extent. Um, so yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't play horror games. I don't play Souls games. So that game is like double me not wanting to play it. Um, so I'm a-okay with them trying it. Who knows? It may be something that works. Souls has proven that it's an odd formula, but it's a formula that does work. So guess the best thing to do is just see where that goes, um and see how it works for them. But either way, I'm personally not interested regardless. So it for me it just proves that, again, solidifies the fact that if it's going to make them a pretty penny, they're going to run with it. And we, as the gaming space, you just have to learn to work with that, I guess. I, but I mean, they're going to go with it because it's the popular thing. People are putting their money into it. This company wants to make their money. They're not. It's disappointing that they're not doing it. Yes, I understand that if you're good at something, you should never do it for free. But at the same time, it just shows that it's that they're willing to deviate away from what Silent Hill is or was, just to just for that penny. Like, they're not staying in their lane of what a horror game is or how their Silent Hill mechanics have worked. For example, every franchise has a consistent mechanic, right? Let's take the Pokemon games mechanics, right? There's always going to be 4 moves that the Pokemon learns. There's always going to be experience that they use and level up on, and there's always going to be, like, say, their element system, for example. Now, let's say if Nintendo decided to take all of that away because, you know, of whatever is popular in the market right now and go with that. It changes the formula. It changes what makes the game, or the franchise the franchise. And from there, now you're gambling if people are just gonna receive it well or not. For example, um, the 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 Zelda franchise was changed dramatically, but it still kept a lot of the Zelda elements in terms of exploration, or, the different type of weapons that Link can use, the fact that he's a hero going on a journey to save someone. Those are elements that stay consistent. They just removed the whole dungeon thing. And for that, out of the 4 of us, Nintendo kind of lost two. Out of this group, Nintendo lost 2 devoted fans of the franchise, because they
Eh.
took a huge part of what Zelda was away from the franchise. So deviating away from what Silent Hill is, or what made Silent Hill Silent Hill. I don't know. I can't say it's a good idea. I can't say it's a bad idea, but I can say is that it definitely proved my point that these companies are not in it for our pleasure. They're in it because they understand we find pleasure in it, but they're really into it for the money. So sometimes you have to step back and realize and question yourself: is this franchise worth supporting? Because they are willing to throw away what I love about this game just for a penny. So that's just business, and that's all I can say.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is what it is.
I
Mhm.
mean, great point. I mean, we saw this with what you call it, with Resident Evil, um, the spiral that was after Resident Evil 4, which was well received. Resident Evil 4 was a big departure from Resident Evil 3210, where it was definitely more action focused, but people were cool with it. They were happy with it. And then 5 and 6 was like Michael Bay of Resident Evil movies, for them to go back to basics with Resident Evil 7. And then, my opinion, they're starting to go down the route again with 8, and we'll see what 9 looks like, because that just got announced essentially. So we don't know much about it yet, other than you might be revisiting the nuclear crater that is Raccoon City. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, Silent Hill was always kind of a it was during that weird time where it was Konami had Silent Hill, Capcom had Resident Evil, and those were the 2 competing survival horror games, right? People liked Resident Evil for one reason. It's, it was more visceral with zombies. Everybody knows zombies, Night of the Living Dead and whatnot, and horrible creatures. And Silent Hill was more of a cerebral kind of introspective horror. It's like the horror of man as opposed to this flesh-eating monster. So that's what made them separate. And Silent Hill F is kind of, I don't know. It's with the action combat and kind of the overall premise of the game. I don't know if Silent Hill is kind of losing what made Silent Hill Silent Hill, but that's remain to be seen. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of wish they went with Silent Hill 2, and even that was heavy combat focused. But I mean, if I lose my my Silent Hill energy, and I got to go back and pick it up so I could go to my pachinko machine bonfire to level up my stats to fight the monsters. It's like, all right, which I don't think it'll be that bad. I think it's more so the combat which this person is alluding to, which this person seems to be very sick and tired of Souls-like games. I just want to let that known. Like,
Yeah.
this person had their tongue firmly planted within their cheek. So
Yeah,
just
because it is something that's like, well, it is a mechanic that does provide, it's like one of the few mechanics in video games, or the few game designs that's today's day and standard, that is providing challenge to video games for the most part. Although that's a very subjective comment I just said. Um, it, for me, I feel like Souls template games, I'm gonna call them that. Souls template games are the more challenging video games in today's market. I just don't feel like every game needs to be that way to be challenging, or it needs to be marketed to appease that kind of market. For example, like the game based on the Monkey King Wukong, I think I would have played Wukong a lot faster if it wasn't based on Souls games. Me personally, I don't feel like a game needs to be a Souls game to be successful. Like, I feel like Ninja Gaiden is not a Souls game. I don't feel like Ninja Gaiden at all is Souls like, but I feel like Ninja Gaiden is a very challenging franchise
Yeah.
throughout the many years that it's been around for. And I don't get Souls like feelings from it. Maybe you guys would disagree with me on that, but I don't get Souls like feelings from Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, as far as the difficulty, there's nothing associated with like any other Souls like elements. Like you don't lose anything when you die.
Ninja Gaiden is a character action game. There's a big
Yeah,
difference.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So you see, like, for like I said again, for me, it's it doesn't you don't need that to be successful within the franchise. You just need to have a solid, grounded game, and it's tiresome. It's boring. It gets boring, and it's tiresome to always have to, like, every game that's coming out that if you find any kind of interest in, it's Souls like. It's like blah at this point, So
yeah, and I can kind of see how people feel that way about Metroidvania games. Like, oh my God,
mhm.
I would have been interested in this game, but it's a Metroidvania, and how many times am I gonna have to earn the right to double jump and air dash in every single game? Why can't I have just a game where I explore a world or something? But
Yeah, I agree with
it's a
that.
weird comfort. It's like a weird
yeah,
comfort food type of game,
yeah,
and I think the Souls have kind of fallen in that category for a lot of people. It's like, I know what this is. I know what is expected of me. Okay, what's the gimmick this time around? Because funny enough, like in relation to Souls games, correct. I mean, I don't know. The first I've ever heard of it, of a game where you parry, and that's the main mechanic. That came from my first experience was Sekiro, and now parrying is like a standard in a lot of these Souls-like games. Where to the point where it's like, if it doesn't have parry, it feels weird.
Well,
Lies of P
parry
had,
they had,
existed.
yeah, they had a,
It's since Demon Souls. That's been
but
there
like as a
before.
main like mechanic of
But
combat.
as a forced, I'm gonna say pretty much forced mechanic, or a mechanic that like you are heavily incentivized to engage with, I would say Sekiro is probably the first.
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
a lot of people don't know this game. It's pretty niche, but they kind of focused on parrying as well. It's called Bushingai. Um, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's that game
That's
where
a
like
PS2 game. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember it.
it's a PS2 game where like they're doing all the fancy moves and they're going back and forth with like the fighting. Um, that relied heavily on parrying. It wasn't to the magnitude
Yeah,
of
but that game,
Sekiro, but
was just a that was another character action game.
it was. But it had the parrying element, which was
Well,
crucial. Like you,
parrying has existed. Who knows what the first game had? There was parrying and weapon lord on Sega Genesis. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So like, but in terms of like Souls-like games, one would argue Souls-like games probably started with like Kingsfield. I don't think there was parrying in that game, but most people are going to be most familiar with like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and onward. And Sekiro was kind of like the game that made it mainstream, or made
There
it
you go.
like
That's a better
the
oh
most
yeah, yeah,
terminology.
absolutely.
attractive
Yeah.
Absolutely.
mechanic.
I was
Yeah.
just saying because in terms of like it being essential, because that's what the previous comment was. I was kind of speaking on Bushingai, and in terms
Well,
of mainstream, definitely
yeah.
Sekiro got it.
Kong
But
Kong used the better word for it,
yeah,
mainstream, because now when you look at a lot of Souls games, pairing is either a key aspect of the game or pairing is now factored into the game in some capacity. Lies of P was very heavily parry focused to the point where my initial problems with Lies of P is that the dodging felt so neutered because they really wanted you to parry.
yeah, I felt
So
that in
when
the
I
demo. Yeah,
so when I played that game, I ended up just giving in and parrying. Later on, as I got more familiar with the game, you can dodge, but it's just like parry. Even this is not a Souls-like game, but Expedition 33, which I think is a fantastic game, has parrying as a mechanic in
Hmm.
it. So it's just like that's just become so integral because of I'm gonna say Sekiro. Sekiro kind of put that on the map. You guys have shown examples of games that have had it previously, and Demon Souls and Dark Souls had parrying, but it was always like significantly clunky. It's like get the shield out,
hmm
time the iframes, and you can parry. Now it's just like you can parry the boss, and it's a whole mechanic. So that's just one mechanic in the Souls-like family genre that has now infiltrated a lot of games for better or for worse. I mean, some people are sick of, some people would be sick of it. It's like, great, another game where I have to worry about parrying. Some people, it's like, oh man, that means this game is 10 times better because I get to go show off my mad leak gamer skills by parrying. So it's just like,
It's mad elite gamer skills.
but like
Go on.
that's
Mm,
that is a game mechanic that was born, or again, to use Kong's words, that was mainstreamed. It was put on the mainstream by Sekiro, which is a Souls
mm.
like game. So
yeah.
You see, and I think that's why, even though I didn't play it for very long, was it Sekiro? Neo, because Neo had the counter mechanic system. It was Neo that I played for a little bit, maybe like an hour or two. That was way more than I'm willing to give any Souls game.
Oh my god.
Um, but for me, believe it or not, like because I grew up playing a lot of the Spider-Man games, and that was a mechanic in the 3D Spider-Man games, at least the ones on the major consoles, was parrying. A lot of the ways, like even though it's not necessarily parrying in the terms of animation where he's pushing back the enemies, you're parrying and the animation will be him or flipping and shooting webs or flipping around the enemy and hitting them back. So the parry mechanic in overall for me wasn't, when I played Neo, wasn't so different. So that means that I know that I in spirit that I can play games that focus on the parry mechanic, but at the same time it's like, how many times are we going to make these games? It's like every game coming out now going to be this. Is every game coming out now going to be like, hey, guess what?
Well, it's like
more parry.
everything
Yay.
becoming a battle royale game or everything becoming a fucking live service game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same shit.
Does it really need all of that? Like, there are some who will stand out. Um, there are some will stand out. Like, for example, you guys disagree with me, but I do feel that I'm just using this as an example before you guys crucify me. Marvel Rivals is very different from a lot of
Get the crucifix. Go ahead. It's behind. It's behind there.
it's different because it relies on the team actually being a team, not just a bunch of people running around shooting, which is what you really get in non-skilled matches. Of course, people running around doing whatever they want, but it doesn't change the fact that the main mechanic is or a large mechanic of the game is, you know, Iron Man teaming up with, say, Ultron to do a special move instead of Iron Man just doing his while he still has an ult, or Black Widow having a team up with, say, Captain America. Like, that's something that like the Overwatch franchise never did, which then applies or implies that you can take a very saturated type of game or template game and bring something new to the table that can be interesting to people, you know. But at the same time, I don't feel like a lot of them are doing that. I think it's more so the coloring book is just it's like they're coloring the same template, just different colors, and they all feel the same. And it's like, lack a better word, blah, in my personal opinion. It's just
No.
overly saturated. Same, it's with movies. Same concept with movies. It's either a superhero movie or a remake of another movie or an extension of an old franchise that was successful back in the 90s or early 2000s. So it's like it's not really there's no freshness coming to the table of it. Or even then, so like in Silent Hill's case, not sticking with what made Silent Hill, but going with what they feel like is the new trend, or what they feel like is what making other video games successful. And really, is it really making the video games successful? I don't think so. But
Yeah.
that's what they feel is where their money should go, because they probably see the success of Elden Ring, obviously the success of the Soul franchises. More and more video games are coming out like it. So they want to ride that gravy train too, but it's not interesting. It's not an interesting take on their approach.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly we'll just like have to see. I didn't play Silent Hill 3, so I don't know the action aspect of it. Hopefully, Gunner, I believe you played it, so maybe you could shine a little light on how the gameplay was, and was it receptive among the masses. Um, but
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
well, compared to original Silent Hill 2, which was definitely more akin to survival horror, you played the remake, so the weapons that you got in 2 were the same weapons: pistol, shotgun, rifle, and um, melee was 4x4, lead pipe, and axe. So the weapons were the same, but the ammo distribution was way different. There was way less ammo. Um, Combat was there was no dodging or anything like that.
Wait for
It
3.
was no for 2.
Oh no, because
For 2.
I was asking about 3 because I did play 2. I just wanted to know because you said that Silent Hill
So
3 was more action based, so I
yeah,
wanted to know. Yeah.
for 3 it had way more guns. It had different pistols, shotguns, assault rifles, submachine guns, different weapons. Like, she was kitted out in 3.
Okay.
And there was more enemy placement and more enemies to shoot at to make use of those guns. So when you compared it to 2, which had 3 guns and 3 melee weapons that were spread out over the course of the game, to the point where when you got the rifle in Silent Hill 2, you were pretty much almost done with the game. And the rifle was mostly for Pyramid Head. That was it.
Got you. Okay.
To 3 where it's just like, well, I got handgun, I got a magnum, I got a submachine gun, I got an assault rifle, I have a rifle, fucking a fucking laser beam. No, you didn't get a laser beam, but like you had way more guns and it was way more combat focused. And I wasn't like in tune with kind of like the gaming space, and we didn't have the internet and social media that we did back then.
True.
But I remember people not receiving it or not liking it so much because they liked Silent Hill 1 and 2 because it was slow paced and survival horror like Resident Evil, but was weird and creepy in a different way than Resident Evil. So I remember it being like it did okay, but people, they didn't grab onto it like they did OG Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2.
Gotcha. Understood. Yeah, because I wanted to gauge like how receptive that particular game was, because we'll never know about this particular game until it comes out and whether or not it's received. My only concern mainly is, well, two concerns: the fact that will the Souls like mechanics mesh well with the overall presentation of Silent Hill, as a whole, and also the intentions as to why they're making it a Souls-like game. Because again, like your intent matters. If you're just doing it because it's the trend that everybody likes, I don't think
Well,
it would bode
well,
well.
I mean,
That's been well established that that's
Hmm.
the main motivator, right?
yeah, the
No, no,
guy pretty
yes,
much
Yes.
said
yes.
it.
No. I get that, but what I'm saying is that like that kind of results into whether or not it would be potentially
It remains to be seen if they're going to execute it well or not, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We could be saying all of this, and then like they execute it super well, or they do things that are new, or they introduce new mechanics to the Souls formula, making it something else entirely. That's possible. So I'm not poo pooing the game because it may be amazing. I don't
Hmm.
know that, but
Yeah.
again, my position at least, I can't speak for the rest of you, but uh, I've been burned a lot. We've all been burned a lot,
Hmm.
even recently. So even with franchises that we have full trust in, Monster
Hmm.
Yeah.
was that game for me, and they kind of let me down on this
Yeah, it was
last
the
one.
biggest burn. Yeah,
So
Monster Hunter was a
now it's just
True.
disappointing
like,
burn.
True.
damn,
Hmm.
like if these guys were able to drop the ball, then like I know Silent Hill can drop the ball because they've done it so many times before. They're not Konami's not shy in changing the formula. I mean, we had a top-down Diablo like Silent Hill game on PS Vita.
Oh, I
Like
remember that. Yeah.
the fuck? Like why is that a thing? But it was a thing. Because well, Diablo's popular. Let's just try it. Let's just stuff the Silent Hill IP into this, into this bottle that says Diablo on it, and let's just see what happens, right? And it flopped because
Yeah.
it's like anybody who has played, more classic Silent Hill games, I'm sure saw that on the shelf and was just like, "Oh, Silent Hill," and they played it and they're like, "What the fuck is this? Like this isn't Silent Hill."
Yeah.
So, but more, these days people are more receptive to accepting whatever's put in front of them without question or without criticism or
Hmm.
without any thought. They
Thought.
just kind of look around the room to see what other people think, and they just adopt whatever the consensus is, and that's kind of the world we live in right now. It's I find that in many circles, minus this one, obviously, we're able to bounce ideas around and challenge each other on ideas or try to listen to each other and maybe gain something from one another. But in other circles that I roll with, I'm considered an oddball, like for questioning things or for like pointing out certain things that other people either overlook or choose to ignore because it's like, well, it's easier if I just ignore it. People say it's good, okay, it's good, and I'm now my opinion is now that it's good, whatever the product may be, whether it be movies or video games or anything for that matter. Um, so I don't know. We'll see. It might be great. It probably won't. It might be a very mediocre, very middle of the road, a cookie cutter Souls-like game with a horror IP attached to it, and I bet you that it's going to do well because it has the Silent Hill IP, and horror games are now mainstream, and so the normies are going to pick it up and they're going to think that it's a good game because, well, it's Silent Hill, it has to be good. And look, the creepy Japanese lady's coming at me with her fucking broken limbs and all this other shit. So yeah, it's good. And it's like, well, and there we go. And then if that's successful, they're just going to do it again. And they're going to keep doing it again until that fad goes away, and then something else will come along. It's like, well, let's do a battle royale fucking Silent Hill game
That'd be
or
something.
whatever, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't put it past them, or a gotcha
Yep.
game, Silent Hill game on mobile or whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's
Yeah.
there is no
The sky's the limit.
shame. There is no shame with these guys. Like, they will do, and they will sell out their IPs. There is no there's no IP integrity. That doesn't exist. That's just not a thing. And if you think that it is a thing, I think you're foolish.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Until very recently, the only Silent Hill you could play was on a pachinko machine, which is gambling for those that are not familiar with it. It's a gambling machine. It's like slots in America. So that's the only way you got to see Pyramid Head, if you were dumping money in some Japanese casino, or, well, gambling is technically illegal. A game room to win a prize. That's how you got Pyramid Head. He was like, "Oh, you won, yeah!" But so yeah, they are not above selling their IP for something like that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I agree with Kong. We'll see. I have a modicum of hope for it. Um, that's why never pre-order. Do not pre-order. Big mistake. Um,
And
wait for
give
the game to come
yourself
out.
right. Give yourself like the fair chance of be open minded that the game could be good, but also be critical to what your next move is gonna be. You don't need to buy a video game day one. You don't
Yeah.
need to buy a video game day one. Give it a
Hmm.
month. See see where it goes. Because in a month's time, like right around the corner is Black Friday. When is this game supposed to come out?
October, I believe.
Uh,
Yeah, I
When?
believe like Halloween weekend or the end of October,
Okay. So
which
pretty
makes
much,
sense.
right. So pretty much the game is gonna go on sale in a couple weeks because that's what's gonna happen.
Well, probably. I mean, listen, I'm gonna be buying Gundam cards in October because that's what I'll be doing with my money. I if
Spooky
I want to,
Gundam.
yeah, Spooky Gundam, Pumpkin Gundam, but yeah, if I want to play Silent Hill, I have the original one on PS1. I got a copy a few years ago for a decent price, and I have the 2 remake, which I thought was great. I'll
Mhm.
fire that up and I'll just play that. Like, it's a nothing burger, and there's so many other horror games that are coming out. Like Chronos looks pretty good, Ill looks pretty good.
Chronos does look pretty
Uh,
good.
there was another one that's eluding me right now, but there's a few other options. So like,
Yeah, they got Tormented
Mhm.
if
Souls,
yeah, Tormented Souls 2 is supposed to
a couple
drop.
others.
I do have to play through the first one,
Same.
but and I have speaking of that, I have a backlog of horror games that I haven't even touched yet from various eras of
Mhm.
gaming. So like, I have a lot of options. So I'm really not sweating it. I've become
Diving,
very
right?
kind of like, okay, like y'all want to do this stupid shit, cool. If consumers want to consume the stupid shit and like it and enjoy the slop, cool. Like, I know what I like and I know what I think is good, and I'm going to just play that, and that's it, and let
Yep.
people do what they want to do, and they're just not going to get my money, right? And if somebody asks me my
Mhm.
opinion, I'm going to tell them, and hopefully that wakes people up on on the current state of things. So
Well,
Yep.
well,
Oh,
again, it's still left to be seen, right? Because we didn't see like what they are going to
yeah,
implement
this
with the
is all
system.
speculative,
Yeah,
right?
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
we shall see.
also, like with these games nowadays, there's a coin toss that this shit don't even fucking work properly on launch. So another reason to just, like Wolf said, wait a month, because by then the game may be
Oh, a
patched
month,
and be
lol. I'm
playable.
waiting a year. I'll buy this next Halloween for $20,
Yeah,
Yeah.
if
See?
that.
See?
because how many times have we heard about a game and it's like, oh, the shit's fucking it runs crap on consoles. It runs even worse on PC. Guys have like fucking rigs that people dream of, and they can barely. This thing crashes and blue screens their PC, and it's just like, oh,
Well,
there goes $70 down the drain.
well, that's expected of PC. So who would have thought that that tiny comment would have derailed the entire conversation, causing us to have a huge debate? If you want to watch that debate, tune into the next episode. Now back to this one.
We have gone off the beaten path. We have fallen
Yeah,
off a cliff.
we
We have
definitely have.
teleported to a new dimension. So, I think we should close out here, and we could just close out the episode.
Anyway, that marks the end of our discussion. If you enjoyed our talk, please consider leaving a like on the video, hitting the subscribe button. We do episodes like this every week on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to check out the description down below for any related links. The link would be the article that we went through in the beginning. Remember that topic we talked about all that time ago? Yeah, that one. As well, check out the social media links. We have a presence on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, and Twitter. Check out our Twitch channel where Mr. Esoteric streams 2 to 3 times a week. Plays all kinds of games ranging from indie to retro to AAA slop. Thank you for listening and watching. We'll see you next week for the next episode. Peace.
Thank you for watching. Till next time.
Take care.